Who wants to go first?
I can.
Okay.
All right. Go for it.
All right.
Well, let me.
So here, can you come over? Roll a table over here. We'll end up moving. So earlier today, we uploaded a video with a wooden prototype of this design. This is our algae intake here. So what we're doing, and we'll bring this over to the bot in a second, is using these rollers to intake the algae. And so right now we're working on a metal design that we can attach. So we've got just 2x1 here, where there's bearings up here, just the two rollers.
No, it's falling apart.
It's falling apart already.
Expertly crafted.
No,
It's a work in progress.
and we're also looking at different belt sizes to have the motor down because we plan to pivot this design. But let's just bring it over. So let's bring it over to the robot, which is over here on the ground. So you can see right here we have our mounts for this design. So we're gonna actually end up needing to angle grind some of the bottom off.
Is that you?
Just for the stock 2x1, so that it is able to rotate freely. If your team wanted to implement this design, you could possibly 3D print a mount that's a little higher up, so you wouldn't have to do that angle grinding. But this is the stock that we had and are able to do in 3 days. So when we put this on here, we plan for it to start in an upright position. This part, this rotation, will not be motorized. Instead, at the start of the match, we will have our core mechanism here as like a backstop, and it'll fall forward.
As soon as we drive forward.
As soon as you drive forward, it'll fall forward. And if you hold it there, and you can see whenever you approach a coral, once this starts spinning, it just goes, it attaches to the buffer, and it's really well just goes up into this spot, and it's stored here.
Yeah, and I think the idea is we don't want it up inside the robot because that takes up, I don't even know if I'm on frame here. It takes up a lot of space, so we'd rather just hold it here. We did find if it was touching the carpet, it's too much friction, so you're either going to go really slow or not going to go at all. So that's why we want to hold it there. And then
as soon as it's ready for us to go and score it, it's just reversing the way these wheels roll.
Yeah, you go up against the wall.
Go up against the wall. He's the wall, and it just runs up, and you can actually see that it goes all the way up this high without any motion here. So that is very well. As soon as it's over the processor, it just falls in, and there's no bounce, there's no roll, there's no nothing.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention, just from a programming perspective, because this is something that I think a lot of teams need to keep in mind. If you're holding the ball out like that, and say there is a defense spot, because that is allowed, what we're doing, the plan is to have some sort of hard stop here. I don't know what that's going to be, but I mean, just a piece of Lexan, a strap, anything like that. And then when we have a ball, and the way you can determine that, maybe like a photo. If you're a more experienced team that has this type of sensor, we don't have it here, unfortunately. Like a photo eye sensor on the side that sees if you have it. We're currently just looking at which action was performed last, like an intake or an outtake. And then if we have a ball in a possession, we are running these wheels at low power. And what that does is it just sort of shoves it up in there, makes sure, number one, it's not going to slip out, and then it also reduces the chances that if we get rammed, it's not going to be forced out as well. So I just wanted to mention that. It's something to be thinking about as piece security in this game.
And this is pretty secure. You can see if these wheels are not moving, this is pretty hard hit.
Yeah.
It's a lot for it to come out when those wheels aren't spinning. But when they are, it just goes over. And since this will be freely rotating, you can see that it does kind of lift up over it a little bit and then come back down to that hard stop point that we have worked out. That is our algae intake and scoring mechanism prototype thing.
All right.
Do you want to go next, Matt?
Sure. I'll do it.
Make it not crooked here. Alrighty.
Alright, so over here we are working on our main game end effector. So we have this giant, almost 7-foot climber in a box that we've rigged up. And then come over to the end, precariously hanging right now, but properly secured later, is the start of our end effector. So we have an entraption star here on a Neo 550, and so that spins. And then if we have a coral here, we're going to have kind of a funnel situation where it's going to get stopped by this motor, and then it'll get outtaked out as the motor spins. And so here we have the polycarbonate that we're going to use for our funnel. So we'll kind of have a V shape with this at the very bottom, and that will be how we outtake. In terms of mounting, if we could look over here, If we move the camera.
I got you.
This is going to sit right in the center of our robot here. And that way we have hopefully an L2 to L4 range. L4 is kind of the stretch goal for us, but theoretically the math checks out. Yeah.
There's a question in the chat about why there's so many holes. So,
Wonder who asked it. The guy right next to me.
So with our springs here, these springs have a load of only 3.5 pounds, so we can get up to about 7 with both sets of springs, one on either side. This weight reduction is so that when we let go, the springs can actually shoot the arm up. It increases our speed, and it gives us the necessary weight reduction to put more heavy stuff on the top.
We are really thinking about doubling up on those springs because the force isn't a ton, and we want to have faster extension, more reliable extension, and more force from the springs will help with that. All right, that is what our end effector is looking at like right now.
All right, we're rolling over to you guys now.
Okay, cool.
You're getting the full shop tour today.
Starter here.
So this is our group that's working on the reef. That's what it's called.
So we decided
Smoking on there.
this morning like what kind of field elements we wanted to focus on when we started this just now, and so we decided to mainly build the reef a section because, like as we went over yesterday in the strategy stream, that the reef is the best way to gain a lot of points really quickly, and so we decided that because they're also focusing on the reef, we were going to build a section of the reef. And also we will be making the bottom part of the processor to store the algae.
Yeah, and we decided for our reef design, we're taking a lot from the resources available for the build plans, but we are modifying it a little bit to fit within our budget and the resources we have. So we're not building the L4 level because it's not something we need to do testing as much with our robot. It's more of a reach goal. So we're not going to put time into building that. And then also a lot of the plans use PVC to build the actual coral structure. We're going to be using dowel with 2x4. It was just easier to source, and we're able to cut it a lot easier.
Cool. Well, do we have anything else? Are we using that?
Oh, we're not.
We should go over why, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so we were originally planning to use this for our
That cut down a little.
So this we would cut it down a little
Yeah.
bit. This is a rough idea. The coral goes in here and then it can slide at the end. However, this is heavy and we don't have very much load capacity on our constant force springs on our extension. So that's what the V-shaped polycarp is for, to replace this with a lighter solution.
Are we going to use that for the way to get from the human station to?
We're still figuring that out with the funnel design. So one of the things that we haven't 100% solidified yet is how we are getting from the human player station into our end effector. We will likely have some sort of static piece on the robot that will corral the coral and get it into our end effector, but we have yet to design it.
Do you
Okay.
want to explain our climb plan?
Or our lack of a climb plan, rather.
Yeah,
So our-
climb plan / yeah.
Our climb winging it, we call it.
Our climbing plan has moved from a should goal to a could goal, meaning that we could do it if it works out. We have a couple different plans that we could execute. One of them is using the climber in a box hook and attaching it near or somewhere on our extended arm. That probably has enough torque, probably, to get the robot off the ground. And the other idea we have is to put a Velcro hook on that same extendable arm and then have it winch up from somewhere else in the middle of the robot.
Oh, someone's asking about suction cups. Can we stick a suction cup to the bottom?
No.
I'm asking that actually.
No.
I just put it in the chat.
So
Yeah. I just think
a couple teams each year usually
he's actually
experiment
answering
suction.
that. That's
It doesn't-
great. It doesn't work. Suction's bad. Don't try it. Oh, someone said Velcro. Okay, moving on. This is just us messaging
Hook and
each other.
loop tape.
This is terrible.
Hook and
Okay.
loop tape, yeah.
What
Hook and loop
do
tape.
we have anything else to show? I don't know.
Do you want to talk about your code?
Just spin around a little bit here. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll do that. Get the code cam in here.
Get the code cam back up.
Get the code cam in. Oh yeah.
Put like
It's a little
small
jank.
face cam part.
We're not doing a face
Do a
cam.
face cam.
Face cam's not included.
You need the face cam.
All right, so this is the FAM official code cam right here. Is it working? Can you guys see this?
Yeah, we're good.
Like, do you see it moving?
Yeah.
There it goes. Okay. So we are using command subsystem based because I honestly recommend that to pretty much anybody. It's kind of weird to not do that at this point, but you know, if you do time based, it works. But anything like more complex with more subsystems, it's going to be a lot more difficult to organize that. Yeah, that's about all I got there. We don't actually have an auton yet. This is fake. So there's that. Pretty simple tank drive here. We're doing like an exponential curve just to smooth out the driving a little bit more. This should really be set to a constant. In fact, I think I have a constant for it. So there's that. Here you can see all our subsystems. We have our index, which is like the wheel spinny thing on top of our lift that you saw earlier. The intake, which is what we're using for LG. And obviously this is outtake as well. Lift, which is the climber in a box with the Neo on the bottom. And then tank, of course, with all the following and whatnot. This is all posted on GitHub. It's linked under our CD thread. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post those. And I think if anybody has any other questions about our design, that'll also be there. Do we want to go to the whiteboard? We can go to the whiteboard. Yeah, I was going to say we are about to. I mean, we're just going to keep streaming here. So if anybody has questions, don't feel rushed. But we're just wrapping up our recap so we can put it on YouTube or whatever.
Is camera on?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're good.
talk about this. So earlier today, while we were at kind of a low, like right after lunch, we started looking at what we were working on and things we were planning on doing, just as kind of a task board for us to work through this process, since we're doing a lot of things in a short amount of time and seeing if you don't have a task, here, what's next. So right now we have like these subtoing are these things we've shown, the mounting, which is almost done now, the build brief you saw just then, like building human player stations, planning on eating dinner, that's about to happen.
We need to underline
The
that.
funnily part, now which we're changing, so we'll have to go through, update this, and then like bracing the arm for a couple other things. And then also some things we were absolutely sure we would not do. We would not like build a barge. We would not try to make algae shots because we determined that
And you know what?
not a competitive advantage for
We
us.
wouldn't get Domino's either.
We did not get
Not
Domino's.
getting Domino's for
We're
dinner.
not getting
It's
Domino's.
ruled out.
Domino's would be so nice.
No Domino's.
All right. Well, I think that's just about all we got here.
Yeah. End of the schedule.
End
You
of the
gotta watch the
schedule.
Lions game, which I think is illegal to stream.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, we're gonna keep
We can get on
we're gonna
Oh.
keep the stream going.
Oh, okay.
But we're
the
just
stream goes in here. The Lions go in there.
we have an hour, dude.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We're
Anyways,
chill about piracy.
here at FAM.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Do you want to like?
We're gonna keep streaming. Come on,
Are we-
Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay.
Can you actually end this one so I can put it on YouTube?
Yeah, I got you.
Sure.
All right. Bye.